There's Independence Hall. Let's find a bench to sit on and read some letters. Maybe that bench. So 250 years ago, right now, the revolution was well underway. The American Revolution had been started. The Continental Congress was meeting in this building, Independence Hall. One thing I've been doing every day is just checking letters that the Founding Fathers wrote back and forth to each other. So I figured I'd check today and see if I find anything interesting and share it with you. I've got my laptop right here, so I'm gonna be looking down and checking for letters. If you want to do this yourself, you can go to Founders Online, and they have all their letters here. And I just put in a search for this date. It's June 8th, Sunday, June 8th. You can see there are a few diary entries from Washington. Let's see if I can get it to focus. So let's click on them. Let's see what he said. Of course, got to turn the internet on. Okay, let's try that again. We'll click on June 8th, 1775. This is exactly 250 years ago. And he said Washington dined at Mr. Dickinson's and spent the evening at home. So that's kind of interesting, right? Because we know who Mr. Dickinson was. He was one of the richest men in Pennsylvania, and he was skeptical of the war effort because he had a lot to lose if the colonies went to war with Britain. So Washington was having dinner with Dickinson, I guess, on June 8th, 1775, 250 years ago. Okay, let's go back and check out what the next diary entry is. You can click on, this is another diary entry on June 8th. A lot of George Washington's diary entries from this time, I've noticed, they're just weather reports. So, lowering to the forenoon, but clear afterwards and warm. I don't know what that means. Lowering to the forenoon? Does anybody know what lowering to the forenoon means? Is that like, is that a way of saying the temperature was lowering? Was he talking about temperature or, not sure. Okay, let's go back again. Let's see what the last entry is. This one looks interesting. This seems to be a letter to Thomas Jefferson from George Tucker on 8th of June, 1775. All right, let's click it. Let's see. Oh, this is long. Okay. This is a long one, so I'll scan it real quick and then I'll turn the camera back on and get back to you if there's anything interesting. Okay, so this is actually kind of interesting. I'll read a little bit of it. Let's see if I can enlarge it here. So it's to Thomas Jefferson from George Tucker on June 8th, 1775. Let me see if I can angle the camera a little bit better. There's Independence Hall in the background for you. So let's read this. It has to do with Bermuda, which is interesting. So let's read it. I must apologize to you for the liberty I take in addressing you as a member of the General Congress, but the importance of the occasion I hope will excuse it. I shall therefore, without further prelude, proceed to the occasion of this letter. The island of Bermuda, by its detached situation, by the number of its inhabitants, by its inconsiderable produce, and by the small progress made there in manufactures, must be reduced to the most dreadful calamities by the present contest between Great Britain and the colonies, should both parties demand a compliance with their respective measures. You see, by this point in the Revolution, it was still early days. Just 1 month, the Continental Congress hadn't even been sitting. The Second Continental Congress hadn't even been meeting for a month, and already Lexington and Concord had happened. Ticonderoga had happened. So people were gearing up for war. So already by this point in the Revolution, people were starting to realize that they needed to choose sides, and there were smaller islands and other territories who started to write to the Continental Congress to ask for basically help, because if they got cut off from Great Britain or the mainland of the colonies, they would be in bad situations economically. So that's what's happening here. This man, George Tucker, St. George Tucker, is saying that Bermuda would be utterly destitute of the means of obtaining provisions for their support except from the continent, and altogether unable to procure clothing from any other source than Great Britain. Since the island affords neither material nor manufacturers, it is altogether impossible for them to exist without the assistance of both. Their commerce with Great Britain, I apprehend, does not amount to more than 20,000, if so much, 20,000 pounds, or their remittances having no produce of their own, are made either in cash, bills of exchange, or longwood and mahogany, which they procure at the Bay of Honduras. So cash, bills of exchange, and wood. So that means they don't have gold. What he's trying to say is they don't have gold or silver bullion to pay for anything. They have these inferior types of money, like cash, bills of exchange, or commodities like longwood and mahogany wood that they can trade. So it goes on for a bit. They have no revenue arises to Great Britain from any exports from thence. Their commerce is so trifling as to be utterly incapable of affecting the trade of Great Britain in any respect. Again, from America, they are supplied with provisions for their shipping and indeed for the support of the whole island for at least 10 months in the year. Here's an interesting sentence. The inhabitants are people, he's talking about Bermuda. The inhabitants are a people who, for their immediate connection and frequent intercourse with the continent, have contracted an affection for this country. They consider the Americans as brethren, and their souls are animated with the same generous ardor for liberty that prevails on the continent. They are most zealous friends to the cause of America, and would readily join with it in any measures to secure those inestimable privileges now contending for. In short, they consider the cause as their own, and with pleasure behold every step that has been taken in support of it. Their conduct on a former occasion, by refusing to admit the stamps in 1765, and obliging the stamp master to resign his office, I think must be considered as a proof of what I have advanced here, or what I have here advanced. But here, so incapable are they of acting in conjunction with America on this occasion, however ardently they might wish to do so, that a single ship of war might cut off all communication whatsoever with the continent, and reduce the island to the most horrid state of distress, if once obnoxious to Great Britain. It is from this apprehension that they have not declared their most cordial concurrence in the measures of the Congress, and adopted them for their own government, since such a step might involve above 12,000 people in the most irretrievable distress. Such are the motives which have restrained their conduct hitherto. By letters from some of the principal gentlemen of the island, I think of myself authorized to make this declaration of their sentiments, and further to add that if the Congress will agree to supply them with provisions, they will with I love this, with cheerfulness accede to any restrictions they might think proper to impose. They will enter into the most solemn engagements that no commodities shall be reshipped from thence to any other place which Congress may think proper to have no commerce with. So they're offering to block commerce with anyone that the Continental Congress in this building didn't want to do business with. That's cool. Good for them, Bermuda. They will enter into association against all sumptuary articles if it is demanded of them, and will agree to import nothing from Great Britain except the absolute necessities of life. They will further engage to supply the colonies with salt from Turk's Island, Tortugas, etc., in exchange for those commodities they shall receive from them. And finally, will readily adopt any measures which may be judged necessary for the benefit of America, and will strenuously oppose whatsoever may make against its interest. And this, here we go. If therefore the Congress will agree to supply them with provisions, I think I may venture to engage that an association agreeable to what I have above stated, if required, will be entered into by the 1st of September, the day when all commerce with the rest of the British dominions is to cease. So how about that? Bermuda is already, at this point in the war, willing to state their allegiance to the cause for the revolution. That's pretty great. So then the rest of the letter is a series of questions about trade and navigation, foreign markets, the acts of Parliament, and how the different laws may prohibit Bermuda from doing trade with other parts of the world, and basically what would Congress like Bermuda to do? Would not such a continuation of the grain trade be attended with the most happy and salutary effects, and be the means of enabling America to make a more lasting resistance to parliamentary measures? So basically, how can Bermuda help, right? I have ventured to throw together these few hints with the design of offering them to your consideration, as I understand you intend to join the American Congress soon, and if anything I have here said should be the means of prevailing on you to offer your interest with that august body in behalf of my wretched country, I shall esteem it a particular happiness of my life to have taken this opportunity of subscribing myself with the most unfeigned esteem, sir, your most humble servant, George Tucker, St. George Tucker. All right, that was fun to read. Let's take a little walk here. You know, it's interesting to read these letters on the days as the Revolutionary War unfolded 250 years ago today. That letter was written and received by Thomas Jefferson. You know, it's cool. It's just a cool thing to do. If you like this kind of video and you like me reading these letters on the days they happened 250 years ago, as the revolution unfolded, please let me know in the comments. I definitely look at those the founders online. I'll link to those letters in the video description, but definitely let me know in the comments if you like that.